Hello, my children. I know it has been a while. I have been pretty busy taking a break and touching some grass. Not going to lie, I did feel overwhelmed with the amount of projects and analysis I planned to make, so I took some time off from the projects in the end. However, I am back. And to start off my video this year, I will diagnose you based on your favorite Honkai Star Rail character again. I know some people are going to point this out. Yes, you can also use this to know which character you kin. You can watch this video however you like. However, please do keep in mind all of these are just my silly little opinions, and we are all here for the shit and giggles as always. To start off, let's start with Welt Yang. First of all, congrats on having great taste. He's mostly the father figure we didn't ask for, but absolutely need. I'm not here to say you got daddy issues or the first daughter in the family, but if that hits the mark, then I have no further words to say about that. But if you love or kin Welt, then you're probably the type to lose your glasses, which are already on your head, or panic about losing your phone while literally using it during a FaceTime call. You're the friend who gives off, "I've seen some things" energy, even if the wildest thing you've seen is a Twitter thread war. You carry yourself with calm assurance, making others naturally look to you for advice or leadership. And let's be real, you don't just offer wisdom. You sprinkle it with enough mystery to keep people intrigued, because you spoon-feeding everyone won't get people to learn. I am not sure if you wish to go back to old times, but what's certain is you are always finding a place to call home. And that home is most likely to be people, not just a certain location. You've faced challenges that shaped who you are today. Let's not lie, you've been through stuff. Maybe you feel like you're carrying lessons and scars from the past while trying to guide those around you. But even if you sometimes feel like the old soul in the room, you've got plenty of fire left for new adventures. And this fire is what makes you still a child at heart. You have a knack for finding wonder in the little things. You're the type to pause and marvel at the stars, get excited over Baja Blast, or even indulge in nostalgia by re-watching an old favorite show. You remind people that no matter how tough life gets, there's always room to laugh, dream, and hold on to the parts of yourself that feel untouched by time. And knowing you have seen things and been through a lot, you're likely the type who finds peace in creative pursuits. Whether it's writing, drawing, or simply daydreaming, you know how to escape into your own little world when life gets overwhelming. But your creativity isn't just an escape. It's a way of processing the complexities of life and finding meaning in even the darkest moments. It might feel a bit out of place to give advice to someone who probably has so much more going on in their life. The best advice you've ever received probably came from your own experiences. So all I really want to say is, I'm proud of you for getting this far. You've carried so much, learned so much, and grown into someone who values responsibility, kindness, and resilience. Because of that, you're not quick to judge and understand. You believe that even the most flawed individuals can rise above their mistakes because you've done the same yourself. And honestly, we need more people like you. In a world like this, even one small act of kindness, a thoughtful word, or a simple smile can go a long way. But don't forget to take care of yourself too. Even the strongest heroes need time to rest, reflect, and recharge. But if you're still young and inexperienced, well, on behalf of Welt, adults only tell you half of the truth. Life does get harder, but trust me, it will get better. And of course, why would I talk about Welt without mentioning Himeko? Bro would have gone straight to the Shadow Realm if he knew Himeko was there. Anyways, if you love her, you're either Dawei or you've definitely got some unresolved mommy issues. I'm kidding. I'm not that type of video, remember? Or am I? I mean, we've all had those moments where you start making decisions based on how someone might react instead of what's best for you. Like when you're picking a restaurant and instead of thinking, what do I want? You're wondering, what's the least likely to get me judged? Classic signs that maybe, just maybe, you've got some unresolved stuff to work through. But hey, if you also kin her, then you probably have an aura that screams, I've got my life together. But secretly, you're running on your caffeine, determination, and maybe a little existential dread. People come to you for advice because they know you'll tell them the truth. Sometimes you cooked too hard, that you delivered at least one life-altering reality check that left someone staring into the abyss, questioning all their life choices. It's not your fault you're always right, okay? Maybe it is, but you're not about to apologize. But if you're the one who's terrible at giving advice, then you're probably the person who gets that reality check. You appreciate the beauty in life, whether it's the sunset, a well-written book, or the oddly satisfying way the sunlight hits your friend's bald spot just right. This is also why you're the type to romanticize a lot of things, especially your quarter-life crisis. Interestingly, this is some sort of escapism for you because deep down, you're a realist. There's no beauty without challenges, and you know it all too well. Like that time you decided to find yourself through painting, dancing, or cutting and dyeing your hair, all while internally screaming because life is messy and nothing's going as planned. Plus, you have times where you feel a little lonely, having the knowledge that no one else can walk your exact path. You've had moments of looking around at a party or in a crowd and thinking, do I even belong here? Don't worry, you do, even if you're silently judging everyone's vibe. Maybe you don't remember everyone's birthdays or credit card numbers, not surprised if you do, but you've got an uncanny ability to recall the random little details that make them unique. For some of you, people think you're the responsible one, but really, you're just cataloging their quirks so you can roast them later. With love, of course. And sure, you seem like you got it all together, but I know you're one inconvenience away from going full burn it all down mode. Someone cuts you off in traffic? That's fine. You'll overtake them, roll down your window, and toss them a mirror with a note that says, use this to find the problem. Not gonna lie, that'd be a badass move for some of you. But let's be real. For the rest of y'all, it's just another scene you'll replay in the shower later, wishing it had actually gone down like that. But to my Himeko lovers, let's all face it. Life is messy, unpredictable, and sometimes downright chaotic, but that's what makes it worth living. Whether you're out there gracefully serving while in an existential crisis, or just replaying epic comebacks in the shower, remember this, the journey is yours to own. And this message is especially for those who need a little encouragement. It's time to stop watching others live their dreams and start chasing your own. Some of you are already the mentors and teachers we all need, while others have incredible potential waiting to be unlocked. And that potential can be realized by simply starting now. Either way, I know it's scary and sometimes lonely, but the very fact that I'm saying this and others resonate with it means you're not alone. We're all walking this path together, sharing the same fears, the same hopes, and the same courage to keep going. And hey, you don't always have to thug it out. Sometimes it's okay to act like a kid and just enjoy life without worrying about acting your age. You don't need to be all responsible or grown up all the time. It's okay to let go and have fun. Being happy is enough. Moving on to a March 7th, I'm starting to see a pattern here. First off, let's just say we need to put you in a bubble and should start wearing safety gear around you because your optimistic energy might just be too much to handle. You're not obnoxious, you're just inherently chaotic, and somehow you've turned it into an art form. And if someone's bothered by that, it's not your job to tone it down. The world's already full of people trying to fit into a mold. They could use a little more of your charm. But you think you can fool me with that mask you're wearing? Perhaps being overly social could hide that loneliness or some insecurity you're having. But Kit, I'm not bubbly or social. Okay then, you're a little bit lost, aren't you? You might not know what's next in your life, but having someone like March 7th around makes the ride a little less lonely. She's that friend who pulls you out of your head, gets you out of your own way, and makes you forget for a second that you're still figuring things out. You're probably the type who documents everything. You definitely got your camera roll full of photos you'll never look at again. But hey, it's about the memories, right? The difference is, you don't just take pictures to remember the moments. You take them because you want to hold on to them. You want something tangible that says, this happened and it mattered, even if the details are blurry. You usually can't stand a mundane day. Sitting still, boring, predictability, disgusting. If things are too normal for too long, you start plotting, be it work or gaslighting grandma for extra cookies. At certain times, you need something to break the routine. You've got clinical FOMO. Like, you need to feel involved, even if you have zero intention of actually doing anything. For example, you don't just RSVP yes to everything before even checking your schedule, but also lurk in group chats, watching plans unfold in real time, but never actually showing up. You just like the validation of being included. Of course, some of you are chronically online, knowing every meme, every niche drama, and keeping up with 5 conversations across 3 platforms like it's your full-time job. Meanwhile, the rest chronically offline, disappearing for days, and only popping back up when someone pings you like a missing persons report. Not because you're detoxing, but you've been too caught up in real life to keep up. By the time you finally check in, the group chat has 400+ messages. Twitter has cancelled and uncancelled the same person twice, and somehow someone tried to tax the air again. You're the kind of person who looks for beauty in the smallest things, because sometimes that's all you've got. And in a world that's constantly changing, you hold on to those snapshots because they remind you this life is worth living. But this might be a personal conflict for you. On one hand, you want to live in the moment, to truly experience everything as it happens. But on the other hand, you're the kind of person who can't resist capturing every single memory, including screenshots of your friends' texts in 4K, just in case you need those receipts for later. Maybe you've got the memory of a goldfish, or maybe you just like having a way to reminisce about the good times and even the tough ones. However, my final say is this. I know what you're really struggling with. It's that feeling of being caught between wanting to be present and feeling like you're always trying to catch up with yourself. Beneath the facade, you've probably got the overthinking, the self-doubt, and that nagging voice wondering, what's next? You're the kind of person who sees the optimism in the chaos, but you also can't shake the thought that you should have it all figured out by now. But honestly, that's okay. Like I said, you might be chaotic, but you're also a symbol of freedom. You might not have your future mapped out, and your past might feel like a foggy memory because time moves too fast. But that doesn't mean you're lost. It just means you're on your own path, and maybe, for once, you can stop worrying about where it's headed. So don't rush it. Of course, what is the nameless family without our beloved Trailblazer? If you picked the Trailblazer as your favorite, then what an interesting choice. Bold of you to pick the character whose entire color palette looks like a grayscale filter was accidentally left on. The drip? Minimal. The vibe? That default MMO character who only has 2 emotes to react. Jokes aside, I love Trailblazer too, and in fact, they're my fave MC out of all Hoyoverse games. But hey, maybe that's the charm. You're not here only for the flashy characters. Nope, you're also here for the subtle life crisis wrapped in the dullest jacket ever created. And if you kin them, well, the Trailblazer is basically the equivalent of I'll figure it out as I go energy. You're probably the type who's up for anything. Not because you're fearless, but because you've just given up questioning the absurdity of life. I mean, oh boy, take a shot every time I say life is chaotic in this video. Midnight snacks turn into 3 a.m. Grocery runs? Sure. Being voluntold to babysit someone's pet lizard? Why not? Boarding a cosmic train with strangers to save the universe. At this point, it's just Tuesday. You're not really a planner, you're a doer. That's why you thrive on spontaneity. Structure? Not your thing. You prefer to figure it out as you go, which sometimes makes people underestimate you. It's kind of your fault to say yes whenever no one else did. Because now you're the friend who somehow ends up in bizarre situations. But you have this uncanny ability to make the best out of whatever situation you're thrown into. Maybe you started out invested in their lore, but let's be real. Their self-searching journey ended up feeling a bit personal, didn't it? Because it's not really about uncovering some tragic past or lost identity, is it? It's about moving forward. About creating new memories and meeting new people who shape us along the way. Trailblazer isn't searching for who they were. They're building who they want to be. Anyways, I'm not here to settle the whole same person or not debate between the male or female Trailblazer. I'm more interested in who you prefer or kin because we are about to get more personal. For slayless riders, Kalis, Slay, Slayless, Silas. I'm sorry. Anyways, you're probably quiet in a group setting but secretly craving to drop a sarcastic one-liner. You have an underrated wit and a sense of humor that only comes out once you're comfortable. Let's not pretend the obvious, that he's kind of fruity. So you're most probably into those things. Yeah, I'm not judging like pass the sauce, please. You're probably always lost in thought. Or maybe just lost in general. You look all quiet and unapproachable at first, but the second someone talks to you, you're all smiles and jokes. Of course, that's only if someone else starts the conversation, because you're definitely not making the first move. And then we have stealth fans. You're the type who wakes up in the morning and chooses violence and lives by the motto, punch first, apologize never. You're not here to be deep or introspective. You're here to get things done, just like how you skipped all the other characters to reach her in this video. You're kind of blunt, fearless, and unapologetically yourself. Plus, you don't waste time overthinking. You like to crack jokes as much as Kalis fans do, but you also throw hands. You're the friend who's always hyping everyone up, and you love dragging your cautious friends, ahem, the Kalis fans, into your whirlwind of ideas. What? Some of these don't hit? I see. Then perhaps you kin Kalis, but you enjoy Stell because you wish you could be like that. It's okay. Small steps. Either way, to my Trailblazer enthusiasts, whether you prefer Kalis or Stell, the Trailblazer isn't just a character. They're a mirror for the journey we're all on. It's okay to not have everything figured out, to feel a little lost, or to take small steps forward when the destination isn't clear. I know you're always stuck halfway between chosen one and please, not me. So if the uncertainty feels overwhelming, just remember, one choice, one moment, and one memory at a time. And you might not have chosen the role you're playing, but you're making it your own. You show up, you try, and even when you're completely winging it, you somehow manage to pull it off. So keep saying, what the hell, sure, because it's leading you to places most people wouldn't dare to go. Moving on to our next Astral Express family member. I'm sorry, Argenti, do you mind? All right, next is Argenti? I'm highly sure that the script got hijacked. Anyways, I'm pretty sure Argenti fans are here, just like how he's practically everywhere we go.
Who is this weirdo?
If Argenti is your favorite, you got immaculate riz whether you realize it or not. You don't just talk, you deliver a performance, and we're just your audience. Probably you guys are stereotyped to be the hopeless romantic, and I am here to verify that. It's not just about romantic love. No, it runs deep. You're the friend who makes every occasion feel like a special event. Movie night, you're bringing themed snacks. You don't just live life, you curate it. This is why most of you have an eye for detail and an appreciation for the finer things in life, even if that means finding beauty in the most mundane moments. Whether it's a perfectly aligned sunrise, the soft rustle of leaves, or when the date matches the time. Yes, we know you screenshot it. Because for you, being a hopeless romantic isn't just about relationships. It's about falling in love with the world. It's very likely that you are drawn to Argenti's unwavering sense of justice and honor. That's why you probably believe in standing up for what's right, even when the odds are stacked against you. You're the type to take on battles, literal or figurative, because you can't stand the idea of leaving someone in need. Sometimes you bite off more than you can chew, don't you? Whether it's volunteering for everything or trying to fix all your friends' problems, you have a hard time setting boundaries. Still, your heart's in the right place, and you're always doing the most. I mean, you might be that person clapping the loudest because you're so proud of your friend's karaoke performance, even if they somehow manage to hit notes that don't even exist. But I'm also talking about how you turn a 3-paragraph summary into a 10-page thesis because it didn't do the topic justice. Even when you're not trying, you'll accidentally set the bar so high that everyone else gets exhausted just watching you work. And while you're busy making sure everything is perfect, you're probably forgetting to eat, sleep, or, exist. Listen, people who don't get it might think Argenti's appreciation of beauty is a little too intense, but I do. And just like you, beauty isn't just something to look at, it's a philosophy, a way of existing. It's not about perfection, but about finding meaning in the flaws, the fleeting and the overlooked. A chipped teacup becomes a symbol of nostalgia. A crumpled flower petal is proof of resilience. Beauty, to you, is about what a moment represents, the story it tells, the emotions it stirs, the way it connects us to something greater. That's why you'll sit in awe over something as simple as sunlight filtering through a window, while the rest of us are just trying to figure out if it's too hot to go outside. Most importantly, it's also a way to be more grateful for what we have, to see the beauty in what already exists, instead of endlessly chasing more. That's the heart of Argenti's belief. So, I think there are moments when you find yourself drained, trying to do as much as you can, fix as much as you can. But maybe reflecting Argenti's ideals is a reminder to live with purpose, gratitude, and an open heart. And isn't that a philosophy worth carrying forward? And talking about beauty, our next character is Kaveh. But Kit, isn't this a Honkai Star Rail video? Shh, it's my video. Keep calm. Who would not want to listen about Kaveh? Look at this piece of art. Anyways, if your favorite or kin Kaveh, congrats. You're officially a member of the Tortured Idealists Club. You're the kind of person who wants to build something meaningful, but keeps getting derailed by life's little curveballs, like unexpected deadlines, existential guilt, or, crippling student loans. One thing about you is that you're a dreamer through and through. You see the world not as it is, but as it could be. And while that's a beautiful thing, it also means you often clash with reality. You've probably faced moments where your ideals didn't quite align with what the world demanded of you. Maybe it was a project that didn't turn out as planned, a vision that fell short, or people who just didn't get it. But instead of giving up, you doubled down, because in your heart, you believe that chasing beauty, meaning, and connection is always worth it, no matter the cost. But hey, you've gone through a lot, so I'm trying my best not to be too mean here. Your empathy isn't just a personality trait, it's practically your entire identity. But here's the thing about caring so deeply. It takes its toll. Your empathy is your greatest strength and your most exhausting trait. You give so much of yourself to others that there's often nothing left for you. Your life might be crumbling and held by duct tape, but you'll still show up for others with a smile and a reassuring, "Don't worry, I'm fine." You're the type who wants to fix everything for everyone else, even when it's not your responsibility. You'd give your last coin to help someone in need, even if it means eating instant noodles for a month. You'd rather shoulder the burden than let someone else struggle, even if it's slowly wearing you down. And maybe that's the saddest part. Because deep down the answer of why people ask why you care so much is that you wouldn't know how to be any other way, even if it's exhausting. I know. Kaveh is always tied to that tall, overly rational roommate of his. You can't bring him up without Al-Haytham somehow crashing the conversation. And here you are, probably doing the same thing, thinking about someone or something else instead of focusing on yourself. See? You can't help it. You think of others a little too much, even when it's your turn to take the spotlight. Who? Is it me? Or are we really getting too deep here? Because I literally can sense that self-sabotaging streak you got there. You'll overcommit to every project, overthink every decision, and pour your soul into something so niche that only 3 people will ever notice it. Hey, before you're going to attack me, hear me out. At least your self-sabotaging isn't aimless. It's born from your relentless passion for the things you believe in, whether it's chasing a dream, nurturing a relationship, or sticking to your moral code. You'll pour everything you have into it, even if it leaves you emotionally and financially bankrupt. You know you'd rather give everything than settle for mediocrity. Okay, I had my fill, and probably this is what you actually need to hear. It's okay to care deeply, but you can't pour from an empty cup. Your empathy is a gift, but it doesn't mean you have to shoulder the world's burdens alone. Remember that sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself and others is to set boundaries and let go of the things you can't control. And about your ideals, don't lose them. The world needs dreamers like you, but you also need to keep in mind that the some things you're so quick to call mid are the ones that hold the most meaning. Not everything needs to be extraordinary to matter. The beauty you're chasing is often found in the simple, imperfect, and deeply human moments you might otherwise overlook. Right, finally, our next astral family member, Heng. First of all, congrats on picking the guy who says less in a week than most people do in a single text thread, but somehow still has the most to unpack. Not saying you got a thing for emotionally unavailable men with tragic pasts, but if the description feels A little too accurate? Well, I'll let you reflect on that. But hey, even though some of you don't speak that much, those 5 words that come out of you, they hit. And for the rest of you, full-ass yapatroners 5,000. But it's funny, barely any of these yaps are actually about yourself. When I say yourself, I'm not talking about your recent interest in seals or bread. I really meant what's actually bothering you inside your head right now. No matter how you present yourself on the outside, there's a whole world of complexity beneath it all. I categorize you as runners, maybe not physically, but emotionally, mentally, you're out of there. When life gets too heavy, you don't confront it. You avoid, you deflect, or you find a quiet corner to think it through. But let's admit it, that corner can turn into a fortress real quick. You're probably the type who says I'm fine in the most unconvincing tone possible, disappears to sort things out, and comes back with nothing being resolved except your playlist being 10 songs longer. Or probably hyperfixated on a random niche hobby like ranking the best toilet seats because distracting yourself is easier than dealing with emotions. And I agree. Sometimes the past feels too heavy to face, and the only way forward is to keep moving. And sure, you're good at running from things, but deep down, you're hoping you'll find something or someone who makes you want to stay. That's why I believe that you're not entirely closed off. You're just selective about who gets past the walls you've built. And honestly, fair enough. But really, are you guys athletes? Besides the running, you're probably no stranger to the mental gymnastics of overthinking. You'll go over the same problem 12 different ways in your head before deciding that avoiding it entirely is the best course of action. You're the person who can spend hours debating whether or not to text someone back, only to decide, I'll deal with it tomorrow. And when tomorrow actually comes, you start crashing out. Okay, maybe I should tone down attacking y'all. I know you guys have it rough too. I mean in life. But that's what amazes me about y'all. Quiet power. Half of you are probably not the loudest person in the room, but people know not to underestimate you. You keep your strength understated, your victories humble, and your struggles private. This might be a little too specific, but for some of you, this quiet power comes from knowing exactly what it's like to stand just a step behind someone else. Not invisible, but never quite center stage. Maybe it's a sibling who always seemed to get more praise, a friend who effortlessly became the main character in every social setting, or even just a feeling that no matter how hard you try, you're always a little overlooked. Maybe you've been compared one too many times, even if no one meant harm by it. You've spent so much time in someone else's orbit that sometimes you wonder if people only see you as an extension of them. And you don't really mind staying in the background most of the time. It's safer there, less pressure, fewer expectations. But I know that deep down, you don't just want to be in that shadow. You want to be seen for you, not as someone's afterthought, not as just a piece of the bigger picture, but as someone whose presence, thoughts, and efforts matter on their own. Even after all that running and mental gymnastics, you somehow, always, manage to pull through. I don't know how you do it, though. Can we all give a round of applause to Dan Hung lovers and kinners right now? And hey, that includes you. You deserve to give yourself some credit, too. What's that? Does receiving a recognition make you squirm a little? Is it because you'd rather vanish into the void than let anyone see you vulnerable? Or maybe it's not that you don't want support, you just don't know how to ask for it. Anyways, listen to me. Take a deep breath. Yes, you. I know it's easier to deflect or dodge the spotlight, but you deserve to take a moment and acknowledge just how far you've come. Even if you feel like you're constantly running, whether it's from the past, your problems, or even yourself. The fact that you keep going says a lot about your strength, and you don't need to outshine anyone to be important. Dan Hung isn't the one making grand speeches or stealing the show. He kinda did that one time. But does that make him any less important? No. Your strength is your quiet persistence in the way you keep going even when no one's watching. But you don't always have to run. Sometimes, staying still and facing what's ahead is how you find peace. It's okay to lean on others and to share your thoughts. You deserve the same care you give so freely to others. And about that whole avoiding emotions thing? Sure, it's easier to dive into a hyperfixation or mentally replay scenarios, but life isn't something you can fully sort out in your head. The best thing you can do is take that first step, messy as it may be. You don't need all the answers right away, and that's okay. And of course, we can't just talk about Dan Heng without blah. Well, perhaps the next character will be in the next part of this series. It's really fun to make, and I'm glad you guys are enjoying it too. Again, I apologize if your favorite character is not mentioned yet, or maybe I have already in my other video, so go check it out. And I do notice that some of you might be thinking, wow, I'm all of these. Am I crazy? Maybe. But the real takeaway is gaining self-awareness. And remember, self-awareness isn't just about spotting flaws. It's also about recognizing your strengths and areas to grow. So, don't forget to subscribe, like and comment, and I will see you in the next video. Hopefully.